Good evening and welcome to another episode of Rebelwatch. I'm your host Cameron Hass, and alongside me is NewsWatch sports anchor Jason Kern and NewsWatch sports reporter Graham Farrell. We have a lot of things to get into tonight. Ole Miss got a much-needed win against Arkansas in their past football game this Saturday. And the Ole Miss volleyball team and soccer team are both deep into SEC play now, and MLB playoffs are in full gear, so there's a lot going on. But starting things off with the football win for the Rebs, it was a very good game. It was much needed. It can be a tricky matchup in the past, but what did you guys think about it?
Well, not to sweat what just happened, but Arkansas has played us tough every year, so no matter if we're good or we're bad, they're always going to play us tough. So it was no surprise it was a close game. No one really thought we were going to blow them out. 27-20, it's a close one. They took the lead late, kind of scared everyone, but Jackson was like, all right, this is not the team who we are. Let's go down the field, and it ended with the Ulysses Bentley 7-yard touchdown run, which was exactly what everyone kind of thought was going to happen. No one really thought Arkansas was going to win. But it just built some confidence going into the bye week. Hopefully, just another week of practice, getting ready to go to Auburn, a team that's had our number on the road past couple of years. It's going to be tough, but just watching them actually face adversity for the first time in a while and come out on top was just a big sign going into the bye week and a big road game coming up.
Yeah, there was a lot of adversity. Lane Kiffin said in his press conference that both Jackson Dart and Trey Harris were hurt during that game and played hurt. But sometimes it's just going to be like that in football. Your offense isn't going to be there. Your quarterback is going to have some things happen, maybe might not be on. Big shout out to the defense. They only allowed 36 rushing yards for Arkansas. That's amazing. And we're seeing Pete Golding's defense. It's not perfect, but it's starting to form. It's coming together, and it's doing its thing. With the bye week, this will allow time for the Rebs to get very healthy. 5-1 going into it, can't complain. Only losses to Alabama, but with Auburn coming up, it's difficult. This is our kryptonite, night games in Jordan-Hare. It's tough. We have only won 2 times in the past 23 years at Auburn, 2003 and 2015. So we're just going to have to see. We're going to have to watch the game tape with LSU this weekend with them. We're going to see how they try to stop that high-powered offense and see what our offense can do.
And to bounce off your point of Arkansas only having 36 total rushing yards this week, when you look at last year's game, Rocket Sanders, 232 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. I feel like every single time we got the ball, it was going to be for like 30 plus because he would just break through our defense. But when you showed how Pete Golding got ready for that KJ Jefferson run and for Rocket Sanders runs, 36 yards compared to what Rocket Sanders had 15 total compared to 232 last year. It just shows you how different this defense is, and it shows you that this defense can actually compete against like a good run team in the end. So that was definitely some positive signs.
Yeah, and then especially coming from the LSU game where it was strictly just offense, and then to see the defense kind of put things more together this week, it was really good to see. Especially, it was impressive because when an offense isn't clicking like that, typically defenses will get more worn out, but they really did hold up. But Auburn is going to be very highly anticipated. There's a lot of drama there. Got Hugh Freeze as their head coach now. Lane supposedly denied the job, but what more things do you think that they need to prepare for, especially during the bye week, to be able to put both the offense and the defense together?
Looking at Auburn's quarterback, Peyton Thorne, he has 4 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. That's not great. And when you look at Auburn's star players, there's not much there. So when you kind of look at this game, yeah, Auburn is not like the best team, but it's going to be us versus that crowd. It's going to be us versus a loud environment. They're going to have a stripe out under the lights. Expect it to be easily going to be a sold-out crowd. But there's spots when you look at how Pete Golding's going to get ready for this offense, it's not that hard to figure out. So that's why this team, if they just watch the game, if they just get together, watch the game tape against LSU this weekend and see what they do right against that Auburn offense, I don't see why we should lose this game.
I agree. I think that the main thing with the Auburn game is that they rank 121st in passing offense nationally. One thing that they did in the Georgia game was just run the ball, and you could see they tried to keep that Georgia offense off the field. And I think that's one thing that they're going to do with this game for us versus Ole Miss is that they're going to try to keep us off the field, try to pound that defense, get them tired, because time of possession in football is such a big key. And it's just we're going to really need to have our guys just on top of it. we're going to have Pete Golding just trying to do anything that they can to stop that run attack.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze will definitely have his team ready. But we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking about other news in college football.
It's that time of the year again, fellas. When the mornings are hot, the afternoons are hotter, and football is on its way back. Now, games is won by the battles fought in August. Everyone that's not revered as an Ole Miss legend has been in your shoes before, trying to survive that Mississippi heat, competing for a spot, and knowing the sacrifice that it takes to make it in this league. You go into this money collection of men from 100 different places, and if you work, you emerge from it as one team with one goal and one heartbeat. The SEC awaits you. And if they don't know who you are now, they will soon.
Where are we gonna go?
Someplace warm. A place where the beer flows like wine. Where beautiful women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. I'm talking about a little place called
Oxford, Mississippi.
To see it is to believe it. You hear about it, but you just have to see the party.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grove. The sound and fury are here. Did he got a toe down?
pageantry, the pride, the pomp is unmatched and unrivaled.
This stadium has come unhinged.
This is what college football is all about.
Oh, as he gets walloped.
No coach is having more fun than Lane Kiffin.
This is the place to be in college football right now.
Welcome back to Rebelwatch. I'm Cameron Hass, your host, and alongside me is NewsWatch sports anchor Jason Kern and sports reporter Grant Farrell. It's now week 7 of the college football season, and there were a lot of great games last week. The standout kind of being the Red River Showdown. Both Texas and Oklahoma played some really good football, and this kind of put Oklahoma in the conversation, more put them on the map. Everyone had been kind of tunnel vision on Texas, thinking they were going to run away with the Big 12, but what do y'all think about it?
I'll just say I think it was one of the best games we'll see this season. That atmosphere was unmatched, neutral field, but all the fans came out. Dillon Gabriel, I believe, had the best quarterback performance of Week 7. He really put his team on the back and carried them to the promised land. These teams could match up later on in the Big 12 championship, but what kind of look would that be for the Big 12, 2 teams leaving in their conference championship? So we're just going to have to see what unfolds later on and try to see what happens.
Yeah, looking at that game, it was kind of like 50-50 the entire game, watching it go back and forth. Oklahoma had a 10-point lead. It was 27-17 at one point, but then Texas scored 13 straight to take the lead. But as soon as that happened, Dillon Gabriel was like, yep, all right, let's do it. Took him only 1 minute to get on the field and take that lead right back. It was just insane to see, and it makes you think like, Dillon Gabriel could have been ours. Love Jackson Dart.
Yeah,
Obviously love
Dart.
Jackson Dart. But it begs the question, should the SEC be like, oh, wow, these 2 teams are great. Now they're going to join us next year because we play Oklahoma here next year.
Yeah.
And if they have that same kind of, they have still have Jeff Levy running their plays, old Ole Miss offensive coordinator. He's just a mastermind when it comes to offense. And I'm feeling like this is kind of starting to scare some SEC teams. I don't want to play Texas. I don't want to play Oklahoma. But a side note, amazing game. Quinn Ewers looked great despite the 2 picks. He only had like 5 incompletions. Just at both ends, it was great. Like you said, fun atmosphere, and I do agree that probably would be the best game of the year so far. And I do hope they play each other again.
Yeah, and as the season goes on, everyone starts talking more about different playoff scenarios. And like you said, if they face each other in the Big 12 championship game, that can make things more interesting, especially if, Texas wins, then do they get in the playoff, especially if Alabama wins, the SEC.
Yeah.
But what are some scenarios y'all think are going to happen? Who are you think is going to make it?
College football, you never know what can happen. But I think right now, Michigan is looking like the best team in the country. I think that they're just both sides of the football. They're amazing. But other teams that I think that a possible sleeper could be UNC, coming out of the ACC, maybe a team that could, find their way. They are 5-0. But I think with my playoff, I think that it's going to be Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia.
And to bounce off what you said, I think Georgia's going to make it. I think Michigan are going to make it. I think they're 2 locks. I have Washington sneaking in, and I think Michael Penix is going to show the whole world this weekend against Oregon why he should win Heisman. He's fast, he can throw. He showed it last year when they went to Oregon and beat them in their own house, and now it's coming to Washington. I think that Washington is going to win this one. I feel like he's too, I wouldn't say he's underrated, but I think the whole world's going to know who Michael Penix is after this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch those 2 teams. Bo Nix, I wouldn't say he's in the Heisman contention, but they're 2 top 10 quarterbacks.
Well, there's another game that also has Heisman implications, possibly, is USC Notre Dame. Just a historic rivalry, just going back until like the date of time with college football. Sam Hartman, Caleb Williams, that USC defense is so bad. It is so bad. I can't believe they went to 3 overtimes with Arizona State last week.
Arizona looked kind of solid.
I mean, Arizona, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Arizona looked good. They were up 17-0 to start. And yeah, USC is obviously going to make a comeback because it's USC at home under the lights. It's not easy to win there or to hold a 17-point lead when you're not really good. But Arizona's pretty underrated. So that was a good test, and it showed. But this is going to be an even better test going to South Bend. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But I think that Notre Dame's going to win just solely on the fact of how terrible USC's defense is.
Yeah.
Their offense didn't look good against Louisville last weekend. Notre Dame, Sam Hartman, and the rest of the crew will figure it out. I wouldn't say it's going to be a shootout, but I think it's Caleb Williams is finally going to see a real defense, and we're going to finally see what Caleb Williams is actually made of. And I have Notre Dame winning that game by 7+, honestly.
It's interesting because these past 4 games for Notre Dame have been so difficult. They've been on the road. They went to Duke, went to Louisville, and their game before that, just all top 25 matchups. So they're going to be back at home. I like to see how this team likes to fight back, see what kind of grit they got, but it's going to be a showdown.
100%.
Yeah, and then also going back to the Washington and Oregon matchup, especially that type of game when both teams are in the top 8, whoever wins that's going to ultimately rocket them up to the top 4 and, be the big name in the conversation of everything.
Speaking of big games this weekend, hot take, A&M is going to go to Neyland and upset Tennessee.
I thought that as well.
I think Joe Milton and Tennessee are going to get completely exposed. Yeah, he can throw a ball 100 yards, whoop-de-doo. You can't throw a ball to a receiver, so why does it matter? They're going to get exposed. Yeah, it's at Tennessee, but I think A&M's really good. I think they're a solid team, and we should be worried when they come to us, but I think that Tennessee's just going to get exposed this weekend.
Yeah, I think it'll be able to tell whether it's going to be a 10-2 kind of season or an 8-4 kind of season.
Yeah, that's very true.
But we'll see. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Rebel women's volleyball and soccer team.
Ole Miss 18th NCAA tournament appearance.
This is fun, folks.
As Baker's peeling it, a little heat check.
Snow Collins for 3. Bring it up.
Said, I love Madison Scott.
Ole Miss Rebels are having a lot of fun, and you can see why.
My passion is journalism. Here at the University of Mississippi, we produce a nightly half-hour newscast, broadcasting regionally on cable and globally on the World Wide Web. is the kind of experience that is preparing me to walk into any news station in the country with the skills and abilities I need to succeed. So it's not just preparing me for the real world, it is the real world.
Do you love sports? Then you should know about STEM. Because maximizing nutrition, analyzing peak muscle performance, calculating the perfect shot, and more are all made possible by science, technology, engineering, and math. In fact, there are more careers than ever in sports science. So if you have a passion for sports, then think about getting involved in STEM and improve everyone's game on and off the field. Get inspired at shecanstem.com.
Welcome back to Rebelwatch. I'm your host, Cameron Hass, and alongside me is NewsWatch sports anchor Jason Kern and sports reporter Graham Farrell. We're going to start talking about the Lady Rebs. The volleyball team and soccer team are now both deep into SEC play. Soccer is kind of standing right in the middle of the SEC West standings, and volleyball struggling a little bit. But starting things off with soccer, this past weekend they had a historic win against Mizzou because they haven't beaten them in 20-something years. And then 2 days later, they went on the road to state and ended up losing that one. But what should we look forward to as they next face nationally ranked South Carolina team?
Let's just say that this Lady Rebs team, Molly Rouse in her first year as head coach here, they've played well. They're a physical team. I was at that game versus Missouri. It got chippy. There was a red card like within the first 15 minutes. Mizzou played with a man down, or actually a woman down. So it was just a tough, gritty win. But the one thing that this ladies soccer team has been struggling with is playing on the road. They are 1-5 this season on the road compared to their unbeaten home record. And they're going to have to find a way because they're going on the road to South Carolina, who's ranked number 15 in the country. And it's just going to be a difficult test because South Carolina obviously is a good team. But they're going to just have to try to attack everything early, try to, stay within the midfield of the game, just try to control the ball.
Yeah, and hopefully they can able to go on a good run the rest of the season so they're able to make the SEC tournament. Because last year they kind of squeaked in there. They were number 10 and only 10 teams make it. But hopefully we're able to see some improvement or, be able to improve on the road more. But with the volleyball team, they're kind of just struggling more so overall. Maybe it's some growing pains, readjusting with the new head coach, but what do you think?
Like you said, Bree Henry is in her first year here at Ole Miss. She's proven. She won a national championship at Nebraska as an assistant coach. In college at Long Beach State, she won a national championship for volleyball there. So she knows how to win, and she's proven it before. Yeah, this team is 8-9. They're 2-4 in SEC, but when you look at the SEC teams, Tennessee's good, Kentucky's good. We're playing hard teams, so it's not like it's bad. But this team is so young,
right? And
there's so many freshmen that have proven that they can play. And we started off 5-0 at home, so that's a huge start. But when you look at just the upcoming games, the next game that's going to be tomorrow is at Arkansas, and Arkansas is ranked number 12 in the nation, so it doesn't get any easier. Yeah, there's going to be growing pains, but it's under a first-year head coach, new players, new system, new everything. So I wouldn't panic yet. It's way too early to panic. Give her a chance to develop. Give her an off-season to find some recruits and bring it in. And I have no reason why this team shouldn't be super good next year. But as of right now, there's no need to panic. Team's young, new head coach. it's not going to all click in year one. But so far, 8-9's not great, but a lot more to come in the future for her.
Yeah, there's a good amount of season left to play, and hopefully they can, get it together to pull off, overall a good season, and hopefully look forward to next year as well. But we're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking about the MLB playoffs and all the action that has gone so far.
The dynamic freshman is starting to make his impact.
Dagger with the shot clock down to 1.
That 3-ball drops for Jamin Brakefield.
Fagan from the corner with a triple. Burrell for 3, and that's a big response. 3-ball, yes. Miss shooting lights out of the pavilion.
Ed, give him one more.
Wow. Alley. Oh. Well, you can't teach that.
Well, that should give Ole Miss a boost.
Creating a legacy takes time, takes dedication, spirit, and a greater vision. That vision starts here at the University of Mississippi. What will you be remembered by? Your character, your contributions, your friendship. Your legacy will define who we are now and who we are becoming for our state, our students, and our future. Ole Miss, build your legacy.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We are rebels. For more than 160 years, we've been accomplishing the impossible, from conducting the world's first lung transplant to helping prove Einstein was right. From preserving the past to saving the future. We are Mississippi's flagship university, a place where passion and learning unite, where friends become family, where small-town charm meets world-class innovation. We are the University of Mississippi. We are Ole Miss.
Welcome back to Rebelwatch. I'm your host, Cameron Hassan. Alongside me is NewsWatch sports anchor Jason Kern and sports reporter Graham Farrell. Well, the MLB playoffs are now in full gear, and there's been some interesting results so far. Some teams are looking stronger than others. The Rangers look good, Diamondbacks look good, but who's sticking out to y'all?
It's got to be the Rangers. Their offense is so good, and they just swept one of the most hyped teams in the league, the Orioles, out of nowhere. I wouldn't say out of nowhere, but also to bounce off that, the AL East was 0-7 in the playoffs. The Blue Jays got swept, the Rays got swept, and now the Orioles got swept in 3 in the divisional round against the Rangers. And that was probably one of the most hyped divisions coming into this year. And coming into the playoffs, like, damn, this team has so many good this division has so many good teams. So that was a big shock. But like I said, the Rangers are good. The Braves are now down 2-1 to the Phillies. So that's going to come down to tomorrow night and see who's going to pull out that one. The Dodgers are down 2-0 to the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks out of nowhere. Dodgers are the big team in the league. Everyone's like, oh my God, this team's going to win it again. The Diamondbacks and Corbin Carroll are like, not so fast. Now they go to Arizona. Should be super interesting to see how that series ends up.
Yeah, let's just say Diamondbacks have surprised me so far out west. They've been doing their thing really well. Yeah, that team is just young. You can tell they have that energy with them, and they finished 15 games back behind the Dodgers in the regular season, but they're taking it to them in the playoffs. That's what it's all about. It's about getting hot at the right time. Same with the Rangers. They did the same thing.
Same with Ole Miss baseball.
Ole Miss baseball. Shout out.
Out of nowhere.
But I just believe that still with the series with the Twins and the Astros. I do believe that the Astros will move on. I think they have too much experience. They're going for their 7th consecutive ALCS. They're kind of like I would say the Chiefs of the MLB right now. You know, just consecutive conference championships, just going after it, and also reigning world champions. Can't forget that. But they're a great team. But it just seems like these postseason games have been a little bit boring so far. Besides that Braves and Phillies game 2 days ago.
That's true. I mean, look at last year. The Braves, everyone thought that they were going to beat the Phillies last year, and now the Braves this year facing the Phillies again. The Braves' best record in the league. No one was really remotely close. This was the Braves' regular season with all those great players, Matt Olson, Acuna, Albies, etc. The team is stacked, and to look at what the Phillies are doing, you couldn't be more right with the teams get hot. It's all about getting hot at the right time, and that's why baseball is such a fun game. And playoff baseball, you just never know, and that's what makes it really exciting.
It's October.
And I just want to rewind to last week.
Oh, no.
Because your World Series matchup, Graham, is just gone. It's done. So do you want to repick, maybe?
Your teams went 0-5.
Yeah, let's just say not a good look for the program. I'll take that one on the head right there. But I think it will end up being, I think the Phillies got it and out of the National League, and I think the Astros will go back.
Wow, nice pick. Yeah. Nice pick.
The Phillies have such a big chip on their shoulder after losing to the Astros in the World Series last year. It wasn't really a competitive World Series. The Astros kind of handled business. Yordan, speaking of the Astros, Yordan Alvarez has had a home run in every single game so far.
Amazing.
Air Yordan. It's just so fun to watch, and it's crazy how the Astros lose players and just get new players every year. Their farm system is ridiculous. Kyle Tucker if there was no such thing as Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Tucker would probably win the AL MVP this year. It just shows the amount of just talent on that roster. Altuve's still there. But I'm sticking with my Braves. And not my Braves. I don't like the Braves. I'm sticking with the Braves versus the Rangers. So the Rangers are, arguably the hottest team in the postseason. But I feel like the Braves aren't going to go down without a fight. And I feel like the Braves are just going to win this one. And if they win the next game, going back to home, there's no reason they shouldn't win Game 5 in Atlanta. There's no reason.
It's hard to play in the bank.
It's hard to play in the bank. Crazy. But if you can just steal one,
if you steal one,
big. That's huge.
It is huge. But we're just going to have to see. I don't know. I got to love October baseball.
You got to. And it's unfortunate as a Mets fan seeing the Phillies and Braves battle. I'm just like, who do I want to win? And then if that happens, it's like, all right, well, I hope the Dodgers don't win because I hate that team also.
So it's like, who do you have left?
Diamondbacks. My ideal World Series is Diamondbacks versus Rangers. Man, would I love nothing more than that. But I'm trying to stay a little realistic here. I'm not trying to sound like a crazy. So I would say Diamondbacks are great. They're about to sweep the Dodgers.
Exactly.
I'll say that the Rangers seem like the only team this year that really spent the money and are actually having success. Like, they went and got Corey Seager. They went and got Marcus Semien. Like,
DeGrom
didn't
play. Scherzer might be back for the next series.
But it's just like with all these other teams, as you said, the AL East, they had the most wins combined in a division in MLB season. Didn't win a single playoff game.
0-7, that's ridiculous. And
yeah,
the Yankees, one of those high payroll teams, didn't make the playoffs. Red Sox, they're a big payroll, but it's not high. But it's the Mets, the Padres, and the Yankees that top off 1, 2, and 3. And none of them came remotely close to making the playoffs. It was just ugly. As soon as Edwin Diaz went down for the Mets, season was over. Judge was out the entire year. The Padres, they're just out of sorts. It's just crazy to see Tatis, Manny Machado, Musgrove, Yu Darvish. It's a stacked Xander Bogaerts. This team is stacked, and it's just crazy to see how these high payroll teams. Money doesn't win you games. Look at the Rays. They have like the lowest payroll, and they make the playoffs every year. And again, baseball's about getting hot at the right time. And if you have the right players at the right time, payroll does not matter.
Yeah, well, they can be happy that they're not Oakland A's fans.
Oh boy,
that's true.
Well, when they move to Vegas.
We're going to see. We're going to see if we still have the ties. We might cut them. Been to a lot of Oakland games before. So.
That stadium is the exact a representation of just how terrible of an organization is. That stadium is a dump.
Watch it over there.
You'll be in the middle of fifth inning watching a rat run under your legs.
At least we're not spending over $200 million, or actually, damn near like $1.5 billion. Actually,
it's pretty tough.
Yeah,
it's not fun, but at least I'd have some sort of stars and.
We trade everyone away. We trade everyone away. Matt Olson, breaks the record for the Braves. It's just tough.
Yeah, Sean Murphy's also laying it up. Mark Canha, Starling Marte. I mean, the list goes on.
I loved Moneyball, though.
Is that all you love about that?
I love it.
That's so funny.
Yeah, well, it should be interesting to see everything play out, and but that's all we got for tonight. And hopefully you tune in to NewsWatch to Rebel. I'm sorry, you guys, but tune in to Rebelwatch next week and follow us on Twitter at @Rebel_Watch for the latest sports updates.